Hey everyone, my name is Emma, and you are listening to Revenge Diaries with Emma. Today we are diving into a story that starts in a place so familiar, so comfortable, you'd never suspect the earthquake brewing beneath the floorboards. It's about the lies we choose to believe because the truth is too inconvenient, and the moment that delicate fiction shatters for good. You know, they say trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair. But what they don't tell you is that sometimes, after the break, you're not supposed to repair it. You're supposed to sweep up the shards and build a new, far more interesting weapon. A little reality check for you as we settle in. If you think your life is too boring for a betrayal of this caliber, you're probably wrong. The most devastating storms don't announce themselves with thunder. They begin with a single, silent drop of rain. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'd also love to know where in the world you're listening from and what your local time is. Are you with me on a cozy evening, or is this a late night secret? Drop a comment and let me know. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into today's journey together. You live in a postcard. That's the first thing you need to understand. Your life, from the outside, is a curated collection of perfect moments. You live in a modern, two-story house with tasteful gray siding and crisp white trim, the kind of house that looks like it was assembled by an architect who also practices mindfulness. The lawn is a flawless carpet of emerald green, the hydrangeas bloom in obedient, vibrant bursts, and the porch swing creaks with a rhythm that suggests gentle, easy evenings. Inside, it's all neutral tones and strategic pops of color, a gallery of your shared success. The air smells of lemongrass cleaner and the faint, expensive scent of the single candle you keep lit on the kitchen island. This is the life you built with Liam, piece by perfect piece. You, Maya, with your keen eye for design and your relentless drive. Liam, with his easy charm and his knack for closing deals that seemed impossible. You were a power couple, not in the loud, obnoxious way, but in the quiet, formidable way that commands respect at charity galas and in boardroom whispers. Your love was the foundation of it all, the bedrock. At least, that's what you told yourself. You see the life you've built, the beautiful, seamless facade, and you feel a surge of pride so potent it almost masks the cold, hard truth. A facade is just a wall waiting for a crack. Your morning is a study in synchronized precision. The alarm chimes softly at 6:15 a.m., not a blaring siren, but a gentle harp progression that coaxes you from sleep. You don't hit snooze. People like you and Liam don't hit snooze. You rise, your feet finding the plush rug beside the king-sized bed without fumbling. You can hear Liam already in the ensuite, the shower hissing, the sound of his humming muffled by the door. It's a familiar soundtrack. You pad downstairs, the cool hardwood a shock that quickly fades into routine. The coffee machine, a sleek, silver beast, gurgles to life at your touch, pre-programmed the night before. You pour 2 cups into matching ceramic mugs, his black, yours with a splash of oat milk. The kitchen is bathed in the soft, golden light of a rising sun, glinting off the stainless steel appliances. This is peace. This is control. This is what you fought for. When Liam appears, his dark hair still damp, smelling of sandalwood and mint, he gives you that smile. The one that used to make your stomach flutter, the one that says, "We've got this. We've conquered the world." He kisses your forehead, a dry, practiced press of lips. Big day, May. Henderson account. You nod, handing him his coffee. You'll crush it. You always do. The exchange is so routine it's almost liturgical. You are both priests in the church of your own success, reciting the scriptures of ambition. You drive to your separate offices, your car a silent, electric cocoon gliding through streets just beginning to stir. You're a marketing director, he's a rising star in venture capital. Your worlds are different, but they complement each other, or so you thought. You'd talk shop over dinner, your strategies blending with his financial acumen. It felt like a partnership, a mind's meld. You remember one specific evening, about a year ago. You were on the terrace, a bottle of Pinot Noir between you, the city lights twinkling in the distance like a carpet of fallen stars. He was stressed about a merger, a tricky one with a lot of moving parts. You listened, then you offered a piece of advice, a simple psychological tweak to his negotiation approach. He'd looked at you, his eyes wide with genuine admiration. "You're a genius, Maya. How did I get so lucky?" He'd said it with such fervor, such conviction, that you felt it in your bones. That was real. Wasn't it? You cling to these memories now, these golden hour snapshots, as you sit at your desk, staring at a spreadsheet that blurs in front of your eyes. Because the present feels different. The texture of your life has changed, so subtly you can't pinpoint the exact moment it happened. It's like a single thread has come loose in a priceless tapestry. You can't see it from a distance, but up close, you can feel it. And you know, with a dread that is slowly turning to ice in your gut, that if you pull it, the whole picture might unravel. The first hairline fracture wasn't a dramatic scene. It wasn't a slammed door or a shouted accusation. It was an absence. It was the anniversary of your first date, a silly, sentimental tradition you'd upheld for 7 years, ordering the same greasy, delicious pizza from the questionable place you'd gone to that first night, the one with the wobbly tables and the neon sign that flickered like a distressed firefly. You'd texted Liam that morning, a playful message with a pizza emoji and a winking face. He'd responded hours later with a single, bland word, "Crazy day. Let's talk tonight." The message was a pebble dropped into the deep, still well of your shared life. You heard the plunk, you saw the ripples, but you chose to believe it was nothing. You're an expert at that, at rationalizing the tiny anomalies. He's busy. The Henderson account is a beast. He's under pressure. You order the pizza anyway, eating 2 slices alone at the pristine kitchen island, the cardboard box a garish, greasy stain on your perfect marble countertop. The cheese congeals. The silence in the house is no longer peaceful, it's anticipatory, heavy. You don't turn on the TV. You just sit, and you wait. The hum of the refrigerator cycles on and off, a mechanical heartbeat in a home that suddenly feels like a museum exhibit of a happy life. When his key finally turns in the lock, it's past 9. You hear the familiar sequence, the scrape of metal, the deadbolt thudding back, the soft creak of the door. But his footsteps are different. They're not the confident, measured stride you're used to. They're slower, almost hesitant, as if he's mentally preparing a script. He finds you in the kitchen, your back to him, pretending to be engrossed in wiping down a spotless counter. "Hey," he says, his voice carrying a layer of fatigue that feels performative. "Sorry, May. The meeting ran late, then drinks with the team. It was unavoidable." You turn, offering a smile that feels tight on your face. "No problem. The pizza's here if you're hungry." He glances at the box, his nose wrinkling almost imperceptibly. I grabbed a bite. I'm just gonna head up, shower off the day. He doesn't mention the anniversary. He doesn't even seem to see the pizza box for what it is, a landmark, a memorial to the people you used to be. He just walks past you, his shoulder brushing yours, and for the first time, his touch doesn't send a familiar current through you. It feels like being brushed by a stranger on a crowded train. You stand there, listening to his footsteps on the stairs, and the hairline fracture in your perfect world widens just enough for a sliver of cold, dark doubt to seep in. This is where you start the inventory, the mental cataloging of every other tiny, insignificant detail that you'd previously dismissed. The new passcode on his phone changed a month ago because of increased security at work. The way he started taking his phone with him everywhere, even to the bathroom, a habit he'd once mocked in others. The hushed tones of a phone call you'd walked in on last week, which had ended abruptly the moment you'd entered the room. "Just work," he'd said, with a wave of his hand. You'd nodded, you'd accepted it. But now, standing alone in your immaculate kitchen, the ghost of a cold pizza between you, these moments don't feel insignificant. They feel like clues. They feel like the gentle, almost polite knocking of a truth that is about to kick the door down. You finish wiping the counter, your movements slow and deliberate. You fold the dishcloth into a perfect square. You throw the pizza box away, the act feeling strangely symbolic, like you're burying a part of your past. You climb the stairs, each step heavier than the last. The shower is running in the ensuite. You change into your pajamas in the bedroom, the soft cotton feeling like a costume. When Liam emerges from the bathroom, a cloud of steam following him, he gives you a tired smile. "Everything okay?" he asks, and the question is so normal, so utterly mundane, that it feels like the greatest betrayal of all. You just nod, because what else can you do? You get into your side of the bed, he gets into his, and the space between you and the king-sized expanse feels less like a comfort zone and more like a no-man's land. The phantom has entered the room, and it's lying right beside you. The phantom in the room doesn't have a face or a name, not yet. It's a presence, a shift in the atmospheric pressure of your life. You start to feel it everywhere. It's in the way Liam's laughter at a TV show sounds a little too forced, a beat too long. It's in the new cologne, a sharp, aquatic scent that has replaced the warm, familiar sandalwood you'd bought him for 3 consecutive Christmases. When you ask about it, he shrugs, a fluid, careless motion. The old one was getting boring. Felt like a change. A change. The words hang in the air between you, simple and devastating. You feel the phantom at dinner with his colleagues, watching him charm the table, his hand resting on the back of your chair, a proprietary gesture that now feels hollow, a piece of theater performed for an audience. You watch his eyes, and you see them flicker towards his phone, face down on the table, with a frequency that has nothing to do with work and everything to do with anticipation. The phantom is the third guest at your table, sipping your wine, breathing your air. It's the reason you find yourself studying the faces of women you pass on the street, in coffee shops, in the lobby of his office building. Is it her? The one with the sharp bob and the confident stride? Or her, the intern who blushes whenever he walks by? Your mind, your brilliant, strategic mind that can deconstruct a market demographic in minutes, now turns its full, terrifying power to this single, maddening puzzle. You become a forensic accountant of your own relationship, searching for the missing decimal point, the unaccounted for hour, the emotional expenditure that doesn't quite add up. You try to dismiss it, of course. You tell yourself you're being paranoid, insecure. You're the strong one, the successful one. You and Liam built this empire together. Why would he risk it? You list his virtues to yourself like a mantra. He's loyal, he's driven, he loves you. But the mantra is starting to sound thin, a childish rhyme recited in the dark to ward off a very real monster. The evidence, or rather, the lack of evidence, becomes its own kind of proof. The easy intimacy you once shared has been replaced by a polite, efficient cordiality. You're roommates who share a bank account and a mortgage, partners in a business called your life. The physical distance between you and the bed feels like a chasm. You remember a time when you'd fall asleep tangled together, his arm a heavy, comforting weight across your waist. Now, you both stick to your designated sides, backs turned, as if observing an invisible border. One night, you roll over and watch him sleep, the faint light from the window tracing the line of his jaw. This is the man you planned a future with. This is the man whose passport is tucked next to yours in the drawer, whose family you spend holidays with, whose name is on the deed to this beautiful, silent house. And as you look at him, a cold, clear thought forms, unbidden. I don't know you at all anymore. The phantom isn't lying beside you. The phantom is inside him. The glimmer comes on a Tuesday. You're both working from home, a rare occurrence that once felt like a stolen delight and now feels like a tense, unspoken negotiation for space. He's on a video call in his office, the door slightly ajar. You're refilling your water glass in the kitchen when you hear his personal phone vibrate on the counter with a distinct, double buzz pattern you don't recognize. It's not his standard text alert. Your body goes still. You watch the screen light up. A notification slides into view. It's not from a name, but from an app, a messaging platform you don't use. You can't see the full message, only the first few words, seared into your retinas. Can't stop thinking about last. The screen goes dark. The world tilts on its axis. The air leaves your lungs in a quiet rush. There it is. The glitch in the matrix. The single, pixelated error in the perfect simulation of your life. It's not proof, not quite, but it's no longer just a feeling. It's data. It's a target. You hear his office chair roll back. You quickly turn to the sink, pretending to be engrossed in washing a single glass, your hands trembling under the cool water. He walks in, all easy smiles. Call's done. You okay? You look pale. You force a smile, a convincing replica of your old one. Just a little headache, you say, and your voice sounds remarkably normal. I'm fine. And in that moment, you are. Because the waiting, the dreadful, passive uncertainty, is over. The hunt has begun. The phantom now has a fragment of a sentence, a digital ghost limb, can't stop thinking about last. Your mind, that relentless machine, begins its grim work, auto-completing the phrase with 1,000 different endings, each more vivid and more devastating than the last. Last night? Last weekend? Last kiss? The ambiguity is a special kind of torture. You move through the next day in a state of heightened, almost surreal awareness. Every interaction with Liam is filtered through this new, corrosive lens. When he kisses your cheek before leaving for work, you analyze the pressure of his lips. Is it quicker, more perfunctory than yesterday? When he texts you mid-morning to say, "Hope your day is good," you dissect the grammar, the punctuation, looking for a hidden code, a sign of a mind divided, a guilt that must be spilling over somewhere. But he's careful. He's always been careful. That's the most chilling part. The Liam you fell in love with was brilliant and ambitious. The Liam you're discovering is brilliant, ambitious, and deceitful. It's a formidable, terrifying combination. You go to your own office, you sit in meetings, you contribute ideas, but a part of you is floating outside your body, watching this capable woman go through the motions while her heart is quietly shattering in another dimension. You drink 3 cups of coffee, but the liquid feels like acid, and the caffeine only sharpens the edges of your dread. You are a string pulled taut, waiting for the pluck that will snap you. That night, the midnight protocol takes shape not as a frantic, emotional decision, but as a cold, logical imperative. The fear has burned away, leaving behind a core of hardened resolve. You need to know. The not knowing is a poison, and you will not let it slowly kill you. You wait until the deep, true silence of 2 a.m., when the house is a tomb and Liam's breathing beside you is the slow, regular rhythm of the untroubled. Or the expertly performed rhythm of the guiltless. You can no longer tell the difference, and that, in itself, is your answer. You slip out of bed, your feet silent on the rug. The floorboards don't creak. You know this house, you built it. You know its sounds and its silences. You pad downstairs, the moon casting long, skeletal shadows through the large windows. Your laptop is on the kitchen island, a sleek, silver slate. You open it, the glow of the screen illuminating your face in the dark room. This isn't a reckless invasion. This is a forensic investigation. You start with the shared cloud account, the one where all your photos, your documents, your digital life is stored. You know his password. It's a variation of the one he uses for everything, a fact he once cited as a sign of his uncomplicated nature. Now, it's a catastrophic security flaw. You log in. The screen fills with thumbnails of your life, smiling faces, sunsets, vacation photos. It looks like a gallery of happiness. It looks like a lie. You bypass the photos. You go to the backups. Your fingers fly across the keyboard, a quiet, efficient clatter in the sleeping house. You navigate to the file that contains his phone's backup, a snapshot of its contents from a few days ago. Your heart is a frantic drum against your ribs, but your hands are steady. This is your battlefield, this stream of data and light. You are not a jealous wife rummaging through pockets. You are a strategist accessing intelligence. The backup loads. You see the list of apps, the call logs, the message archives. Your eyes scan the data, looking for the anomaly, for the messaging app whose notification you saw. And there it is. Tucked between innocuous productivity apps and games he never plays. An app with a simple, blue icon. Your cursor hovers over it. This is the moment. The point of no return. On the other side of this click is a truth that will irrevocably alter your life. You could close the laptop. You could go back upstairs, climb into bed, and continue living in the beautiful, haunted postcard. You could choose the fiction. You take a slow, deep breath, the air cool in your lungs. And then you click. The archive of messages loads. And there, at the top, is a name you don't recognize. S. And the preview of the last message sent, the one that lit up his screen, now lights up yours. The words stark and undeniable against the dark interface. Can't stop thinking about last night. Tell me it was real. The words, "Tell me it was real," hang in the sterile blue light of your laptop screen, not as a question, but as a plea, a confirmation of a shared secret. For a long moment, you don't breathe. You don't move. The world has narrowed to this sentence, this name, this irrefutable truth. The phantom has a name. S, it's a single, sharp letter, a dagger. Your eyes, dry and unblinking, scroll up. You don't want to, a part of you screams to close the window, to unsee this, but your hand, moving with a will of its own, guides the cursor. The history unfolds before you, a digital chronicle of your own annihilation. It didn't start with grand declarations. It started with work. Great presentation today, S. Thanks, Liam. Couldn't have done it without your notes. Innocuous. Friendly. The kind of exchange you wouldn't think twice about. But then, the tone shifts. It becomes a river flowing underground, hidden from the sun. The messages move from the company server to this private app. The compliments become more personal. That color looks amazing on you. You have such a sharp wit, it's intimidating. The emojis appear. The winking faces, the hearts. Your stomach clenches. You read about the quick coffee that turned into a 2-hour lunch. The late night at the office that coincided with a message from S saying, "Still at my desk, so bored." The lies weren't just to you, they were collaborative, a shared fiction they built together. You keep scrolling, a ghost reading its own obituary. The messages become more intimate, more brazen. They discuss you. Does Maya suspect? Liam's reply, no. She's busy with her own projects. She's distracted. The word distracted is a punch to the gut. He'd framed your success, your drive, as a neglect, an excuse for his betrayal. He'd turned your strength into his justification. The cold fury that began as a seed now sends roots deep into your core, freezing the pain, making it manageable. This is no longer about heartbreak, it's about evidence. You methodically take screenshots. You save the files to an encrypted folder on a remote server he doesn't know exists. You are building your case. You learn about S. Her name is Sloane. She works in his office, a junior associate he was supposedly mentoring. You see photos he's saved, a woman with a cascade of red hair and a laugh that, even in a pixelated image, seems too loud, too eager. You read their plans. A conference in Chicago next month. 2 whole days, he'd written. I can't wait to have you all to myself. The betrayal isn't just emotional, it's logistical. It's in the calendar invites you saw, the flight bookings he must have made while sitting at the same dinner table as you. The sheer, mundane practicality of it is what finally breaks the dam inside you. Not a tear falls, but something solid and foundational within you fractures. The woman you were, the one who believed in the postcard, who trusted the bedrock, is gone. In her place is someone else, someone with ice in her veins and a blueprint for demolition in her hands. You close the laptop. The kitchen is plunged into darkness so absolute it feels like a physical substance. You sit there in the black silence, the images of their messages burned onto the back of your eyelids. You can hear the soft tick of the clock in the hallway, each tick a second of your old life slipping away. The initial, paralyzing shock has been replaced by a terrifying, crystalline clarity. You will not cry. You will not scream. You will not confront him in a messy, emotional scene that would only give him the upper hand, a chance to lie, to manipulate, to paint you as the hysterical wife. No. He has been operating in the shadows, thinking he was safe, thinking you were oblivious. He has taken your trust, your history, your future, and treated it as disposable. So you will take everything from him. Not in a fit of rage, but with the same cold, calculated precision he used to dismantle your marriage. You will be the glitch in his matrix. You will be the phantom in his room. And when you are done, he won't just have lost a wife. He will have lost his reputation, his career, the very world he so carefully built and then so carelessly risked. You stand up, your legs steady. You walk upstairs, past the bedroom where he sleeps, and into the spare room you use as an office. You open a new, blank document. At the top, you type a single word, protocol. And then you begin to plan. The ice water in your veins is a welcome anesthetic. It numbs the raw, shredded feeling in your chest and allows your mind to function with a surgical focus you didn't know you possessed. Grief is a luxury you cannot afford. Anger is a fuel you will not waste on something as unproductive as a screaming match. You sit in the pale light of your office monitor, the protocol document open, a blank canvas for your vengeance. Your first entry is not an emotional rant, it's a list of assets, both tangible and intangible. Joint bank accounts. Investment portfolios. The house. His professional reputation. His relationship with his family. His friendship with his business partner, Alex. You list them all, each one a pillar holding up the temple of his ego. Your goal is not to knock down one pillar, but to orchestrate a synchronized collapse. You think of Sloane, with her red hair and her eager laugh. She is not the target, she is a tool, a pawn in his game who will become a weapon in yours. He chose her not just for her youth or her admiration, but for her predictability. She is a climber, ambitious and impressionable. You know her type. You've hired and fired her type. That makes her vulnerable. The plan begins to form not as a single act, but as a campaign, a series of strategic pushes that will look like unrelated misfortunes, a run of bad luck that will slowly, inexorably, tighten around his throat. Phase 1, Financial Friction. You start here because it's the most clinical, the least emotional. You have full visibility on your shared accounts. Your financial partnership was one of the things you were most proud of. Now, it's his greatest vulnerability. You don't drain the accounts. That's too obvious, too easily traced. Instead, you begin a process of subtle reallocation. You move small, regular amounts from your joint savings into a new, private account you open under your maiden name. The amounts are just large enough to be significant over time, but small enough to be explained away by market fluctuations or minor, forgotten expenses. You research. You find the paperwork for a forgotten, low-yield investment his father helped him set up years ago. You initiate a transfer of those funds into a more aggressive, higher-risk portfolio you control. It's not theft, it's restructuring. You are, after all, the one who always handled the smarter investments. You also begin creating a digital paper trail. You use his email, accessing it from the cloud backup, to request new credit cards, increasing the limits on existing ones. You don't use them. You just ensure they're there, a line of potential debt waiting to be tripped. You are setting the stage, planting seeds of financial instability that will sprout into full-blown crises at the precise moment you choose. Phase 2, Social Sabotage. This requires a lighter, more psychological touch. It starts with his phone. Using the backup data, you have his schedule, his contacts, his life in your hands. You send a few emails from his account. Nothing dramatic. A terse, slightly irritated reply to his well-meaning but fussy mother, canceling a weekend visit due to a last-minute work emergency. A vague, distracted text to his best friend, Alex, blowing off their usual weekly squash game. Swamped, man. Another time. You create the image of a man who is stressed, withdrawing, becoming unreliable. People will notice. They'll ask him if he's okay. He'll brush them off, of course, but the seed of doubt is planted. He's changing. He's not the Liam they know. You even orchestrate a small, perfect moment at a dinner party with his colleagues. You are your usual, charming self, the picture of supportive grace. But when the topic of the upcoming Chicago conference arises, you turn to him, your face a mask of gentle confusion. Chicago? I thought that was next quarter, darling. You must be mixing it up with the Boston trip. He'll stammer, correct you, but the flicker of unease in his eyes is everything. You've publicly, subtly, highlighted a crack in his flawless facade, and you've done it with a smile. The phantom is no longer silent. It has begun to whisper. The web of lies he spun was intricate, you'll give him that. But intricate things are fragile. They rely on every strand holding its tension, every connection remaining perfectly aligned. Your work now is to find the loose ends and pull, gently at first, then with increasing force. The first domino is his professional reputation, the thing he prizes above all else, second only to his own carefully curated self-image. It begins with a single, misplaced decimal point. You have access to a preliminary report he's preparing for the Henderson account, the crown jewel of his portfolio, saved in the shared cloud drive he'd forgotten you ever use. The document is a complex tapestry of financial projections and market analysis. With a few keystrokes, you alter one critical cell in a sprawling spreadsheet. You don't change a 5 to a 6, you shift a decimal point, turning a projected 5.2% market growth into a pessimistic, and fundamentally erroneous, 0.52%. It's a mistake so simple, so stupid, it would never be attributed to malice, only to gross carelessness. You make sure the error is buried deep, in a tab he likely hasn't reviewed in days. Then, you wait. The Henderson presentation is in 2 days. He will be rushing, confident, and he will not double-check the numbers he thinks are solid. The next day, you initiate social sabotage, part 2. You use his phone, or rather, the digital ghost of it you control, to send an email. It's to Sloan. You craft it in his style, that casual, confident tone you know so well. Hey S, need to talk strategy before the Chicago trip. My place, tomorrow night at 8? Maya will be at her sister's. It's important we're on the same page. Then, you delete the sent message from his outbox and the incoming one from her inbox. From his perspective, the invitation never happened. But from hers, she will be there. Dressed and eager, standing on your doorstep, in your neighborhood, at the time his wife is supposed to be away. You make sure you are home. You make sure you are the one who opens the door. The look on her face, the shock, the confusion, the dawning horror, will be a small, private victory. But more importantly, it will shatter her confidence in his competence. She will think he's a fool, careless with their secret. It introduces a seed of doubt into their alliance, the first fracture in their united front against you. She will confront him. He will be baffled, defensive. Their perfect, secret world will have its first, inexplicable crack, and they will have no one to blame but each other. The day of the Henderson presentation arrives. You dress with deliberate care, choosing an outfit that is both powerful and subtly reminiscent of the woman he fell in love with, a soft, cobalt blue sweater he'd once said brought out your eyes. You need to be a ghost at this feast, a living reminder of what he is betraying, even as you engineer his professional downfall. You go about your day, your external calm a stark contrast to the humming engine of your purpose. You know the meeting is at 2 p.m. At 2:17 p.m., your personal phone buzzes. It's a text from Alex, Liam's business partner and your friend. Hey, is Liam okay? He's off his game today. You type back, the picture of concerned loyalty. He's been so stressed with the Henderson deal. Why, what's happening? The 3 dancing dots appear, then his reply. Massive error in the projections. Henderson is pissed. It was a rookie mistake. Liam looks like he's seen a ghost. You put your phone down, a slow, cold smile touching your lips. Domino 1 has fallen. It wasn't a catastrophe, not yet. But it was a public stumble. A stain on his pristine record. The first whisper in the office corridors that Liam might not be the infallible golden boy they all believed. And he will have no explanation for it. He will only have the cold, sickening feeling that his control is slipping, and he won't have the faintest idea why. The art of war, quietly waged, requires an understanding of pressure points. You've applied the first touches of financial friction and social sabotage, but the true masterpiece lies in turning his greatest asset into his most devastating liability, his alliance with his business partner, Alex. Alex is more than a partner, he's the brother Liam never had. They founded their firm on a handshake and a shared dream in a cramped university dorm room. Alex is the steady, pragmatic counterweight to Liam's brilliant, sometimes reckless, ambition. He's also your friend. He was the best man at your wedding, the one who gave a speech that was genuinely funny and heartfelt, not just a series of canned jokes. For your plan to reach its full, destructive potential, Alex must not just witness Liam's downfall. He must be the one to administer the final, professional blow. This requires not a sledgehammer, but a scalpel. You begin with a series of subtle, almost imperceptible nudges. You accidentally leave a credit card statement open on your home office printer, the one with the increased limit and a few small, Curious charges for a boutique hotel bar downtown. Charges you meticulously fabricated using the card's online portal. You know Alex is coming over that evening to watch the game with Liam. You make sure you are the one to greet him, flustered, quickly gathering the papers with a forced smile. Just some boring paperwork, you say, a little too brightly. He'll see the logo of the hotel. He'll say nothing, but the seed is planted. A few days later, you orchestrate a phone call. You call Alex, your voice carefully layered with a fragile concern that is not entirely feigned. Alex, I don't know who else to talk to. You let a silence hang, perfectly weighted. It's Liam. He's just so distant. And he's been so secretive with his phone lately. I found a receipt for a necklace. It wasn't for me. You feed him the truth, but in the wrong order, with the wrong emphasis, making it sound like a classic case of marital strife and potential infidelity. You are not the vengeful wife. You are the confused, hurting one. Please, don't say anything to him. I'm probably just being paranoid. It's just this stress with work, the Henderson thing. He's not himself. You tie his professional stumble to his personal chaos, creating a narrative of a man unraveling. Alex, the loyal friend, will now be watching Liam with a new, worried eye. He'll see the late nights, the secretive phone calls, the uncharacteristic errors, and he'll connect the dots you've so generously provided for him. He will believe he has discovered the truth on his own. The final, crucial piece involves Sloane. You need Alex to see her not as a junior associate, but as a threat. You use the cloud backup one more time, this time to forward a single, carefully chosen email from Liam's sent folder to Alex's personal email address. It's an email from Liam to Sloane, sent a few weeks ago. The body is mostly professional, discussing a project update. But the closing line, the one you've highlighted by making it the forward subject line, is the dagger. Your insights, as always, are invaluable. Let's discuss more over that drink in Chicago. You send it from a temporary, anonymous email account, with no additional message. It will look like a leak, a whistleblower, perhaps from a disgruntled employee who saw something unseemly. When Alex receives it, his concern will curdle into anger. He will see a partner risking their firm's reputation, their shared dream, for a tawdry affair with a subordinate. He will see the lies, the recklessness, the betrayal not just of you, but of him. The alliance is broken. You have handed Alex the weapon, and you have painted the target on Liam's back. The trap is no longer just set, the spring is coiled, and you have placed another man's finger on the trigger. The dominoes you've so carefully aligned begin their slow, satisfying tumble. It starts with a phone call you're not supposed to hear. You're in the kitchen, and Liam is in his study, his voice a low, tense murmur through the door. You can't make out the words, but the tone is unmistakable, defensive, strained. It's Alex. You know it is. The fabricated credit card charges, the worried conversation, the anonymous email, they have done their work. The once unbreakable bond between them is now stretched thin, vibrating with suspicion and disappointment. Later, Liam emerges, his face pale, the easy charm replaced by a pinched look around his eyes. Everything okay? You ask, your voice the very picture of wifely concern as you chop vegetables for a dinner you know he won't eat. Fine, he snaps, then immediately corrects himself, forcing a smile. Alex is being difficult about the Chicago trip. Thinks it's unnecessary. He runs a hand through his hair, a gesture of agitation you haven't seen in years. Since when does he question my business travel? The question is meant for you, but it's really for himself. He's feeling the walls close in, and he doesn't understand the architecture of his own prison. You just nod sympathetically. He's probably just stressed too. The lie is a bomb you offer, and he accepts it, desperate for any normalcy, the next domino falls at his office. You hear about it through the gossamer threads of your own professional network. A junior associate, Sloan, was reassigned, abruptly, from Liam's key projects to a peripheral team working on a low-stakes account. The official reason is workload redistribution. The unofficial rumor, the one you carefully helped seed in a conversation with the wife of another partner, is that there were concerns about overly familiar conduct. Liam never mentions it to you. He comes home quieter these days, the weight of his crumbling world bowing his shoulders. The confidence stride is gone. He checks his phone less often, the thrill of the secret messages apparently dimmed by the real-world consequences. You see him staring into space, a deep frown etched on his face. He's trying to trace the source of his misfortune, but he's looking for a leak in the office, a rival at the firm, a mistake in his own judgment. He never once looks at you, the quiet, supportive wife who hands him a cup of tea and listens to his half-hearted complaints. You are the one piece of his life that appears stable, the anchor in his suddenly stormy sea. The irony is so rich you could taste it if your emotions weren't locked in a deep freeze. The final domino in this sequence is the most beautiful in its cruelty. The Chicago trip, the one he and Sloan had fantasized about in their digital love notes, is officially cancelled. Alex, as the managing partner, pulled the plug, citing budgetary reviews and a need for Liam to focus on damage control for the Henderson account. You are in the room when Liam gets the call. He's standing by the large window in the living room, the city lights sprawled before him like a kingdom he once ruled. You see his back stiffen. "What do you mean, cancelled?" he says, his voice dangerously low. "Alex, this is unprecedented." He listens, and you watch the last vestiges of his professional invincibility drain from his posture. He doesn't argue. He just says, "I see," and ends the call. He stands there for a long time, a silhouette against the glittering skyline. He has been publicly reined in by his own partner. His autonomy, his authority, has been clipped. The affair, which was an escape, a fantasy of power and youth, has now cost him real power in the world he truly cares about. He turns from the window, and his eyes meet yours. For a fleeting second, you see something in them you haven't seen since the early days, a raw, unguarded need for reassurance. You give him a small, gentle smile. "Tough day at the office, honey?" you ask, and you watch as the last domino falls behind his eyes. The air in your beautiful home is now thick with the static of a coming storm. Liam moves through the rooms like a man awaiting a verdict, his phone, once a source of furtive excitement, now a dormant brick he glances at with apprehension. You, however, are a study in serene productivity. You've moved from the strategic planning phase to active deployment. The trap is no longer a blueprint, it is a physical construct, and you are about to spring it. The venue is the firm's annual summer gala, a glittering charity event at a downtown art museum where champagne flows like water and reputations are made and broken between canapes. It is the perfect stage for a public execution. For weeks, you've played your part flawlessly. You helped Liam choose his tux, you listened to his anxious ramblings about mending fences with Alex, you even suggested, with wide-eyed innocence, that he might want to personally smooth things over with Sloan at the event. "It looks bad if there's tension," you'd said. "Be the bigger person." A quick, public, professional word. He'd agreed, seeing it as a chance to reclaim some control. He has no idea he's following a script you wrote. The night of the gala arrives. You wear a dress of deep crimson, a color of power and warning. You look formidable, and you feel it. Liam, in his sharpest tuxedo, seems to draw confidence from your appearance, mistaking your lethal grace for wifely pride. The museum is a whirl of light, music, and the low hum of money and influence. You work the room on his arm, your smile effortless, your laughter timed perfectly. You are the charming, supportive wife, the unshakable pillar. You watch Alex from across the room. He's cool, polite to Liam, but the warmth is gone from his eyes. You've done your work well. The moment arrives like the ticking of a clock reaching the top of the hour. You see Sloane enter, a vision in shimmering silver, her eyes scanning the crowd for Liam. She looks nervous, hopeful. She's wearing the necklace, the one from the fabricated receipt. It's a cheap, gaudy thing, utterly unlike your taste, and its presence is a confirmation of every doubt Alex now holds. You give Liam a gentle nudge. There's Sloane. Go on. Clear the air. He hesitates, then nods, squaring his shoulders as he moves through the crowd toward her. You melt into the background, a ghost at your own revenge. You position yourself near Alex, close enough to observe, close enough to ensure he sees everything. Liam reaches Sloane. He says something, his body language stiff, formal. But Sloane, fueled by weeks of confusion, rejection, and the public humiliation of being reassigned, misinterprets his approach. She sees it not as the professional olive branch he intends, but as a private signal. In a moment of breathtaking, perfect folly, she reaches out and touches his arm, her hand lingering on his sleeve. She leans in, her expression intimate, pleading. You can't hear the words, but you don't need to. The picture is worth 1,000 betrayals. You see Alex's face harden. He's seen enough. The rumors, the email, the financial carelessness, and now this, a blatantly personal exchange at the firm's most public event. He strides forward, his movements tight with controlled fury. He doesn't cause a scene, not yet. He simply inserts himself between them, his back to Sloane, his face inches from Liam's. You can see Liam's expression, shock, panic, dawning horror as he realizes how this must look. He stammers an explanation, but Alex cuts him off with a single, sharp, whispered sentence. The music swells, masking the words, but the intent is clear. It's over. The trap has sprung. The golden boy has been publicly, definitively, caught. And as you take a slow sip of your champagne, the cold, crisp bubbles bursting on your tongue, you feel nothing at all. No triumph. No joy. Just the quiet, vast emptiness of a mission accomplished. The drive home from the gala is a journey conducted in a vacuum. The silence in the car is not merely an absence of sound, it is a physical presence, heavy and suffocating. Liam grips the steering wheel, his knuckles bone white, his gaze locked on the rain-slicked streets as if they are a lifeline. You sit in the passenger seat, your crimson dress a splash of violent color in the dark interior, your body turned slightly towards the window. You don't need to look at him to feel the shock radiating from him in waves. He is trying to process the unprocessable, the look on Alex's face, the finality in his partner's tone, the way Sloane had crumbled, the discreet but undeniable stares from their colleagues. His entire professional identity has been dismantled in a single, elegant, public gesture. He keeps opening his mouth as if to speak, to offer some desperate explanation or plea, but the words die before they are born. What could he possibly say? The evidence, while circumstantial, is a mountain, and you have presented yourself as the one person standing by his side through this inexplicable run of bad luck. The irony is a shard of glass in his heart, and he doesn't even know it that he doesn't speak until you are both inside the house, the grand foyer feeling more like a mausoleum than ever. He shrugs off his tuxedo jacket, letting it fall to the floor in a heap, a gesture of utter defeat you have never seen from him. It's not what it looked like, he finally rasps, his voice raw. He stands in the middle of the room, a lost boy in a grown man's body. Maya, you have to believe me. She grabbed my arm. I was trying to be professional. You turn to face him, your expression a masterpiece of pained loyalty. I believe you, you say, your voice soft, and the lie is so perfect, so clean, it feels like the truth. But Alex, and everyone else, what were they supposed to think, Liam? After everything? You use his own words, the narrative of stress and unraveling you helped create. The Henderson account, the missed meetings with your mom and Alex, the secretiveness. You let the list hang in the air, each item a brick in the wall closing him in. He stares at you, and you see the dawning, horrifying realization that he has no defense. The story is too coherent, too damning. He has been tried and convicted based on a crime he did commit, but with evidence from crimes he didn't know existed. The true aftermath begins the next morning. It starts with a call from Alex. You listen from the top of the stairs, hidden from view, as Liam's side of the conversation is a series of stunned, monosyllabic replies. What? Suspended? Pending a review? Alex, you can't be serious. My equity? My God. The call ends. You hear a strangled sound, half sob, half roar, and the shattering of glass as he presumably hurls his phone against the wall. You descend the stairs slowly, finding him standing amidst the glittering shards, his head in his hands. He is financially neutered, professionally exiled. The firm they built is cutting him out, using the clauses in their partnership agreement designed for exactly this kind of reputational disaster. He looks up at you, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. They're forcing me out, he whispers. They're taking everything. You walk towards him, stepping carefully around the broken glass. You don't touch him. You just look at the ruin of the man you once loved, the architect of your own pain, and you finally speak the words you have been holding on to for weeks, your voice calm, clear, and utterly devoid of mercy. No, Liam, you say. They're not taking everything. I am. The silence that follows your statement is more profound than any that came before. The hum of the refrigerator, the tick of the clock, the faint sound of traffic from the street outside, it all vanishes, swallowed by the vacuum of his incomprehension. He stares at you, his mind visibly struggling to parse the words, to fit this new, terrifying variable into the equation of his downfall. You, what? He finally manages, the words a dry croak. He shakes his head, a slow, disbelieving motion. Maya, what are you talking about? This isn't a joke. You don't blink. You hold his gaze, your posture erect, your hands relaxed at your sides. The performance is over. The supportive wife has left the stage. Do I look like I'm joking, Liam? You ask, your tone conversational, almost pleasant. The decimal point in the Henderson report. The credit card charges. The email to Sloan inviting her here. The forwarded message to Alex. The canceled trip. You list them off like you're reading a grocery list. It wasn't a run of bad luck. It was a campaign. The color drains from his face completely, leaving a waxy, gray pallor. He takes an involuntary step back, his heel crunching on a shard of his phone. The physical flinch is a tiny, satisfying punctuation mark. You. He breathes, the word laced with a horror that is finally, blessedly, directed at the right person. You did this? All of it? The dawning realization in his eyes is a thing of beauty. It's the moment the prey understands the true nature of the predator that has been hunting it. He's not looking at his caring wife anymore. He's looking at a strategist, an adversary who has outmaneuvered him at every turn. But, why? How could you? The questions are feeble, the bleating of a lamb who has just seen the butcher's knife. Why? You let out a soft, mirthless laugh that hangs in the air between you. You really have to ask? Look in the mirror, Liam. You did this. You and Sloan. Can't stop thinking about last night. Tell me it was real. You quote the text back to him, your voice a cold, precise instrument. The shock on his face confirms that he knows, with absolute certainty, that you have seen it all. The entire sordid digital history of his betrayal is laid bare. You didn't just cheat on me, you continue, your voice dropping, losing its pleasant edge and gaining the sharpness of honed steel. You built a second life in the shadows of the one we made. You used my trust as a blanket to cover your lies. You made me a fool in my own home. So I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I decided that if you were going to live a double life, you would need a double downfall. One for the husband, and one for the partner. You gesture vaguely at the room, at the broken phone on the floor. You're witnessing the merger. He sags, his legs giving way, and he stumbles back to lean against the wall for support. The reckoning is here, and it is you. He slides down the wall until he's sitting on the floor, amidst the glittering debris of his former life. He doesn't look at you, his gaze is fixed on some middle distance, seeing the ghost of his own choices. Sloan, he whispers, the name a curse on his lips. It was a mistake. A stupid, cliched, he trails off, the excuses as pathetic and insubstantial as he feels. You remain standing, a statue of judgment in your crimson gown. The revelation isn't over. He thinks the depth of your knowledge is the texts, the affair. He has no conception of the final twist, the one that will truly break him. You let the silence stretch, allowing him to marinate in his shame and despair. When you speak again, your voice is quiet, almost gentle, which makes the words cut all the deeper. It wasn't just Sloan, Liam, you say. He looks up, confusion warring with the devastation on his face. What are you talking about? You take a slow step forward. The necklace. The one on the credit card statement Alex saw. You didn't buy that for Sloan, did you? His brow furrows. He's lost. No. I didn't buy a necklace. You nod, as if confirming a shared fact. I know. I fabricated the charge. But I needed a specific item, something tangible, something Alex would believe you'd buy for a mistress. Something he could see. You pause, letting the anticipation build. I chose that particular necklace because I'd seen it before. Around the neck of Elena from. The name hangs in the air, and you watch as his face goes through a rapid, horrifying transformation. Confusion, then dawning recognition, then pure, unadulterated terror. Elena from is the wife of Carl from, the notoriously ruthless and paranoid CEO of Henderson and from, the client of the botched presentation, the firm that is now, undoubtedly, pulling all their business. The client whose reputation is built on old school, family values propriety. You didn't just have an affair with a junior associate, Liam, you continue, your voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, as if sharing a delicious secret. The rumor I helped start, the one about the overly familiar conduct. I let people assume it was Sloan. But the more salacious, the more dangerous whisper, the one that will truly blacklist you from every reputable firm in this city, is that you were reckless enough to mess with Carl from's wife. That the Henderson disaster wasn't a simple error, it was the fallout from a personal vendetta. That your suspension isn't about incompetence, it's about survival. Carl from doesn't just ruin business rivals, he erases them. Liam is hyperventilating now, short, ragged gasps. He sees it. The entire, horrifying picture. His affair with Sloan was a professional risk. But the fictional shadow affair with Elena from is a death sentence. No one will ever hire him. No one will touch him. He is toxic, radioactive. The ultimate betrayal wasn't yours, it was the one you crafted for him, a betrayal of a power far greater than your own marriage, a sin for which there is no forgiveness in the world he coveted. You have not just ruined him. You have annihilated his future. He doesn't speak. He can't. The air has been stolen from his lungs, the words from his vocabulary. He sits on the floor, a broken marionette amidst the shattered glass of his phone and his life, and simply stares through you. The revelation of Sloane was a brutal blow, but this, the fictional entanglement with Elena is a terminal diagnosis. It's a lie so perfectly crafted, so diabolically plausible in the cutthroat world he inhabits, that it will become the unshakable truth. He will never work in venture capital again. His name is mud, laced with arsenic. You watch the understanding settle in his eyes, the final, chilling acceptance that he has lost everything, his partner, his career, his reputation, and now, the very ground beneath his feet. There are no tears. There is only a vast, hollowed-out silence. You turn and walk away, leaving him there in the foyer. The crimson dress, your uniform of vengeance, feels heavy now. You climb the stairs, each step a deliberate, final act of departure from the life you shared that in the bedroom. You don't pack frantically. You methodically retrieve the single, pre-packed suitcase from the back of your closet and the folder of documents from your locked desk drawer, the new bank statements, the apartment lease signed weeks ago under your maiden name, the title for the car you quietly registered in your name only. You change out of the gown into simple, dark jeans and a sweater. The costume comes off. When you descend the stairs, suitcase in hand, he hasn't moved. He looks up at you, and in his eyes, you see a flicker of the man you once loved, a ghost asking a silent question. You stop at the door, your hand on the knob. The lawyers will be in touch, you say, your voice devoid of any emotion at all. I've already filed. It's uncontested. You have nothing to contest with. You don't say goodbye. There is nothing left to say. You open the door and step out into the cool night air, leaving the beautiful, haunted house and the shell of the man inside it. You don't look back. The phoenix does not look back at the ashes, it simply rises. You drive to your new apartment, a sleek, modern space in a building downtown with a view of the river. It is not a home yet, but it is a blank slate. There are no ghosts here, no memories lurking in the corners. You pour yourself a glass of water and stand at the large window, watching the lights of the city reflect on the dark water. The ice in your veins has finally begun to thaw, but what emerges is not the hot pain of grief you expected. It is a profound, echoing quiet. There is no victory lap, no triumphant surge of power. The revenge was perfect, a masterwork of strategic destruction. But standing here, in the silence of your own company, you realize that revenge is not a destination. It's a scorched earth policy. It clears the land so something new can grow, but it leaves behind a barrenness that takes time to heal. You are free. You are alone. You are the architect of your own liberation, and the blueprint was written in the language of betrayal. The house of lies has been demolished. Now, you must decide what to build in its place. The weeks that follow are not filled with the dramatic fallout you might have once imagined. There is no grand, final confrontation, no desperate pleas from Liam. The machinery you set in motion grinds on with a cold, impersonal efficiency. The divorce papers are signed without protest. He has no leverage, no will left to fight. The financial separation is clean, surgical, favoring you heavily thanks to the paper trail of his recklessness and the uncontested nature of the proceedings. You hear through the withered vine of mutual acquaintances that he moved out of the city, back to his parents' house in a state far away, a 30-year-old man retreating to his childhood bedroom, a modern-day ghost. Alex, you learn, managed to salvage the firm by publicly distancing it from Liam, using the narrative of a personal crisis to explain the professional collapse. The world, it seems, has a remarkable capacity to absorb even the most shocking of scandals, so long as they are someone else's. Life goes on. The sun continues to rise and set over the river outside your window, painting the water in hues of fire and gold, indifferent to the small, human dramas playing out in the buildings that line its banks. You throw yourself into your work, not as an escape, but as a rediscovery. The drive that you once channeled into building a shared life, and then into demolishing it, is now directed inward. You launched the consulting firm you'd always dreamed of, the one Liam had gently teased as being too niche. Your first clients are fierce, brilliant women who appreciate your no-nonsense approach and your terrifying competence. You go to therapy. You sit in a quiet, sunlit room and talk about trust, about betrayal, about the cold, hard person you became to survive. You learn to forgive yourself for that, for the icy calculus of your revenge. You did what you needed to do to reclaim your power. But you also learn that power held solely as a weapon is a lonely fortress. You start to dismantle the walls, brick by brick. You have dinners with friends. You take a pottery class and make lopsided, ugly bowls that you cherish. You learn the texture of a quiet Tuesday evening with no one to answer to, the simple pleasure of reading a book until 2 a.m. simply because you can. The sharp edges of your pain are slowly worn smooth by the gentle, persistent river of time. One evening, you find yourself standing at your window, a cup of tea warming your hands, looking at the reflection of your own apartment in the glass. You see a woman who has walked through fire and emerged, not unscarred, but stronger, more defined. The revenge was not about him in the end. It was about you. It was the violent, necessary act of cutting out a cancerous part of your life so the rest of you could live. You didn't just destroy his lie, you dismantled the one you were living, the fiction of the perfect couple in the perfect house. In its place, you have built something real, something honest, even with its cracks and its quiet moments. The phantom is gone. The silence is no longer accusatory, it is peaceful. You are no longer a character in someone else's story of betrayal. You are the author of your OWN.SO. What is the unspoken truth of survival? It's this: revenge is not a feeling, it's a process. It's the brutal, often ugly, surgery we perform to remove the parts of our lives that are poisoning us. It can be executed with flawless precision, it can feel justified in every conceivable way, and it can leave the target in ruins. But when the last domino has fallen and the dust settles, you are left standing in the quiet with yourself. The true victory isn't in the destruction you wrought upon another, it's in the reconstruction you manage for yourself. It's in learning that your worth was never tied to their fidelity, your strength was never dependent on their presence, and your future was always yours to design, even when it felt like the blueprint had been burned. Revenge can give you back your power, but only you can decide to use that power to build a life you don't feel the need to escape from. It closes one violent, dramatic chapter, so that the next one can be written in a quieter, truer voice. Now, I'm curious to hear from you. When you think about the concept of justice, especially in the messy, personal realm of betrayal, where do you draw the line? Is it ever truly found in the downfall of the other person, or is its purest form something we have to build, piece by piece, within ourselves long after the drama has faded?